general election to be held on Tuesday, November 4th, 2025, as mandated in Section 102A, Subdivision 2C of the New York City Civil Court Act. Pursuant to Article 7, Section 6 of the Democratic County Committee Rules, the affirmative vote of a majority of votes cast are required when we vote on who our nominees shall be. I recognize Roxanne Persaud for the purpose of a nomination.
I nominate Chidi A. Easy, residing in Kings County, to be the Democratic Party nominee for the public office of Judge of the Civil Court from the 4th Civil Court District, Brooklyn, New York, to be voted for at a general election to be held on Tuesday, November 4th, 2025, as mandated by Section 102A, Subdivision 2C of the New York City Civil Court Act.
Are there any further nominations? Are there any further nominations? Are there any further nominations for Judge of the Civil Court from the 4th Civil Court District, Brooklyn, New York? Nominations are now closed for the public office of Judge of the Civil Court from the 4th Civil Court District, Brooklyn, New York. As there are no further nominations and only one candidate has been presented to the body, I ask for unanimous acclamation of Chidi A. Ezi as the Democratic Party nominee for public office of Judge of the Civil Court for the 4th Civil Court District, Brooklyn, New York, to be voted for at the general election to be held on November 4th, 2025, as mandated by Section 102A, Subdivision 2C of the New York City Civil Court Act. I ask for unanimous consent to that nomination. Is there any objection? Hearing none, Chidi A. Ezi is nominated by I recognize Alyssa Meyer for the purpose of a nomination.
Yes, commanding as the senator. I nominate Juliette P. Howard, residing in Kings County, to be the Democratic Party nominee for the public office of Judge of the Civil Court from the 6th Civil Court District in Brooklyn, New York, to be voted on at the general election to be held on Tuesday, November 4th, 2025, as mandated by Section 102A, Subdivision 2C of the New York City Civil Court Act.
Well done.
Are there any further nominations? Are there any further nominations? Are there any further nominations? Nominations are now closed for the public office of Judge of the Civil Court from the 6th Civil Court District, Brooklyn, New York. As there are no further nominations and only one candidate has been presented to the body, I ask for unanimous consent of Juliette P. Howard as the Democratic Party nominee for the public office of Judge of the Civil Court for the 6th Civil Court District, Brooklyn, New York, to be voted for at the general election to be held on November 4th, 2025, as mandated by Section 102A, Subdivision 2C of the New York City Civil Court Act. Is there any objection? Hearing none, Juliette P. Howard. Hearing none, Juliette P. Howard is nominated by unanimous consent. I recognize Nikki Lucas for the purpose of a nomination.
Don't y'all sound so excited? I nominate Dagmar Plaza Gonzalez, am happy to do so, residing in Kings County, to be the Democratic Party nominee for the public office of Judge of the Civil Court from the 7th Civil Court District, Brooklyn, New York, to be voted for at the general election to be held on Tuesday, November 4th, 2025, as mandated by Section 102A, Subdivision 2C of the New York City Civil Court Act.
Are there any further nominations? Are there any further nominations? Are there any further nominations? Nominations are now closed for the public office of... Oh. I can't
Point of personal information.
Just since we never heard from Dagmar, we heard from the other two candidates, could we just maybe hear like a quick
She wants to hear from the candidate.
Sorry, I was just asking if we could hear from the candidate. We were able to hear from Chidi and Juliet on the Zoom, and I'd love to just hear from Dagmar in person. Maybe one or two sentences about her before we vote. Thank you.
Okay, generally, we would not do that at this stage, but we will do it as per your request. And we will call upon Dagmar Plaza Gonzalez to say a few brief words as to her candidacy.
But just know that we will have all three candidates speak at the end. So please limit to 2 sentences so that you can speak with the other candidates.
How about if I'm brief, like a minute and a half, 2 sentences?
Just say a run-on
I
sentence.
could use them.
Run-on sentence.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for your support. Very quickly, I'll say I'm an attorney. I live in Brooklyn. I work for the City University of New York. I went to the University of Michigan Law School. I went to undergrad at St. Lawrence University. I also have a Master's of Science in Education that I got at Long Island University right here in Brooklyn. But that is not my story. That's my education. I'm happy to share my story with you.
Afterwards.
In just a few moments.
Super quick. I'll have an opportunity to expand on it later. I grew up poor, and I grew up knowing that education was the vehicle to a better life. I've had the privilege to use my education for a better life, but not everybody else has. And that's why I'm running for civil court judge for the most vulnerable amongst us. I think diversity and representation matters, and I think under the current administration that we have, we are going to really need to support the most vulnerable amongst us. And I think that it's not just about the facts and the law that's in front of you, it's also the empathy, the caring, the patience, and the judicial temperament that's required to lift us all up to equal footing.
Okay, nominations are now closed for the public office of Judge of the Civil Court from the 7th Civil Court District, Brooklyn, New York. As there are no further nominations and only one candidate has been presented to the body, I ask for unanimous consent of Dagmar Plaza Gonzalez as the Democratic Party nominee for the public office of Judge of the Civil Court for the 7th Civil Court District, Brooklyn, New York, to be voted for at the general election to be held on November 4th, 2025, as mandated by Section 102A, Subdivision 2C of the New York City Civil Court Act. Is there any objection? Hearing none, Dagmar Plaza Gonzalez is nominated by unanimous consent. Okay, so congratulations to the nominees, and I'm now going to call upon the 3 nominees if they'd like to step forward to the front of the room and say a few words as to their nomination.
A few. Exactly. No more, no less. 4 score.
here today, taking time off your busy schedule.
Gotta hear you.
Taking time off your busy schedule to attend this meeting today. I am very honored and I appreciate everybody. I want to start thanking all of you for, first of all, the county leader for her tireless effort in organizing this, and the staff members, the county staff, the parliamentarian, and everybody else. I thank the district leaders for coming out today and doing this proxy thing that I understand is not that easy. I appreciate every effort that went into all this. County members, thank you all for the opportunity to be presented in the November elections to be a civil court judge in the city of New York. I want to assure you that you would not regret your decision today, and I'm also looking forward to your support in the November elections. I will do my best to bring the kind of justice that I have been pursuing all through my life to the bench.
How many cases have you tried?
Well, I've tried over 1,000 cases in court. I've done appeals. I've argued about 100 appeals, and we've been very successful fighting for the poorer members of our society, the less privileged, being successful fighting civil rights against civil rights against the police, of course, and the government institutions, and also the banks who are trying to take our homes. We've been fighting to keep our homes. I thank you again once more, and I look forward to your support in the November elections. I'm sorry I'm not a loud person, but I'm sure my colleagues here will do justice with this. And again, congratulations to my colleagues for this nomination, and I hope to see you guys again soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Chidi. Congratulations. Thank you, everyone. Such an honor to receive this nomination. I'm so grateful. I want to say especially thank you to the county committee members of the 6th Municipal Civil Court District. Y'all did it. Thank you. Thank you so much. I also want to thank the chair. Thank you so much, Madam Chair, Denise Bijak-Hermelin, and to all of the committee, also to all of the administrative members of the committee for all of your hard work to make this happen. I very much appreciate that. I definitely want to give a special thank you to my consultant and friend, Professor Gregorio Myers. Thank you for everything. He's amazing. Of course, special thanks to my family, to our 2 sons, Jordan and Nicholas are not here, and to my biggest supporter always, Norma Jean, who all of you know as Judge Norma Jennings. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to continue to serve Brooklyn. It's been an honor for the last 4.5 years to be Brooklyn Housing Court Judge, and it will be an honor for the opportunity to be elected as your Civil Court Judge in November 2025. For those who don't know anything about me, if you didn't listen to the forum the other day, I don't want to share a lot, but because I know time is of the essence. But a little bit about me is that I grew up in Sugar Hill, Harlem. I'm an only child. I was raised by a single mom, along with my grandmom. And I always say I am because they were. And so I'm grateful for the opportunities that I've had, educational opportunities that they made available. I was the first person in my family to graduate from college, Barnard College of Columbia, and then Brooklyn Law School. I'm also a poet, and I bring poetry to the community. So if you're in Brooklyn and you're a poet, look me up. Anyhow, I'm grateful and thank you all so much.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me now? Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for your patience and your commitment. This is a big deal. This is a big deal. I'm so overwhelmed and humbled by this opportunity and by your support. I want to thank all of you for taking the time and commitment to be civil servants. I'll speak about that in a minute. I was a history teacher for a little while, so I'm like super proud of this moment. I also want to thank county and committee and our audacious county leader, and really committed county leader. And Nikki, that was a wonderful nomination. I want to say thank you so much. Thank you for your work and for your support. I really appreciate it. I'm humbled by it. To my district leaders who unfortunately, some of them are not here, but have really brought me along and supported me along the way. I'm so thankful. And it's such a surreal moment because I wish my mom had been here because I didn't speak English when I started school. And I can't believe that I'm standing here just because she was so audacious and she was so committed to making something out of nothing. You know, I grew up in public housing, my grandmothers took care of me. I had a single mom who said, there's a place in the world for you too. And that's really what I've carried with me. I've carried it with me in my legal practice, as a teacher. It's not a throwaway line to say that representation matters, that empathy matters, that caring matters. We can all be smart. We can all be well educated, but taking the time and the patience to look at the person behind the story and the fact in front of you, I was directly impacted by our court system. And there are tremendous strengths in our courts, but also really challenges. And that disparity is what drove me to be a lawyer. It's what made me always, in whatever space that I'm in, advocate for those who really don't feel like they have a place or access. The court system can be a really intimidating thing, but at its very core, it's for the people to come and feel like they have a place to have their grievances heard, to have equality, to have representation. And I'm so humbled by having the opportunity to continue this year, 30 years of commitment to public service in this new way. I look forward to having an opportunity to speak with you all again in a more informal setting, but I'm just so incredibly grateful and humbled and thankful for this opportunity. Thank you so much.
Before we end this, again, congratulations to our nominees. Extraordinary people, human beings, who all have touched someone in their lives, who've helped, who've done something, given back. And, I want to thank all of you for making this process easy, in a sense, and being very participatory and making sure that we have good representation on our bench. Chidi, whose immigrant, came here from Nigeria. Done? Yes? Chidi came from Nigeria, and he did what he needed to do to give back to the community, became a citizen, helped his family, raised his kids, became a great lawyer, fighting for people in the courts. We thank you. We thank Juliet, who many of you know, who's been this housing court judge warrior, family woman, yes, fighting, because housing, not only housing is right, but housing is the most important issue for many of us here. And our court system needs to be reformed, ladies and gentlemen. I went to Chicago, I came back, and I said, we need to do a lot what they're doing in Chicago, but I thank her for her representation of all of us as a judge on our side. Fair, but on our side, as tenants, as people who's trying to keep their homes. And we're gonna now take those skills, those experience, judicial experience, to the criminal and civil court, and we want to thank you. So thank you for Juliet. And for Dagmar, many of you heard. Yeah, she too was raised like many of us with nothing. And she made her lemonade with lemons. Yep. She raised her 3 boys. And, you know, she didn't say anything, but, you know, she's been a good wife to her husband, fighting the battleground. But education is key. And a lot of people don't understand that that's a value add. Having an attorney who has educational teaching experience, that is like, she's gonna have compassion to people and youth. And all those youth that comes into the criminal court, many of them are coming there unjustly. But she will have that temperament. She will have that passion for the mentally ill, for the homeless, you know, for the many who's been wrongfully accused, wrongfully convicted. She's gonna be at the bench now, and she's gonna break those barriers, bringing fairness and equity into our judicial system. So we thank you, Dagmar, for doing this. And so with that said, we're gonna be closing, but I wanna thank each and every one of you again for coming here to the 42nd Assembly District, to this beautiful campus. We wanna thank all of our volunteers, the members of the county committee, our district leaders, everyone here on the dais, our lawyers, our chair, our secretary pro temp, everyone, Joyce who did the data, and everybody. We just wanna thank you. It's a lot of work, but we are committed. We are committed. And ladies and gentlemen, we are committed in being unified. We have to continue to work towards our party being unified. We are all the same. We all want the same thing. We want a quality and fair life. And that goes to everything that we eat, breathe, and sleep in. So with that said, I thank you. Let's all work together to continue to push for a better democracy and the strongest Democratic Party in the whole United States. Thank you.
Okay, as there is no further business that can come before this meeting, I declare this meeting adjourned sine die, and I ask that the nominees please report to our law chair, Mr. Genovese, to fulfill the various documents that have to be taken care of. Thank you.